You guys ever hear the story about what happened to the guy who shot 50 Cent 9 times? Yeah, me neither. With that being said, today we're here to check out the story of what happened to the guy who shot 50 Cent 9 times. To understand that, first we gotta check out a video called The Life and Story of Boo Boo, the street gang boss that became 50 Cent. Makes a whole lot of sense, except for the Boo Boo part. Let's do this.
Go show.
A lot of dudes talk about 50, you know what I mean? I know 50, you know what I mean? 50 a gangster, you know what I mean? He's not a sucker, you know what I mean? So I just have to speak on that, you know what I'm saying?
May 2000, I got shot, so I was dropped from Columbia Records, and then I came back, and the next deal was done in 2002.
Once upon a time, in the rough streets of Queens, New York, there was a kid named Boo Boo. He wasn't just any kid. He was a tough, smart leader. Curtis knew every corner, every alley, and every secret of the neighborhood. He ran with a crew, tough guys who looked up to him like a boss.
50 do more for you than any artist, than anybody does for their artists. More than Jay-Z. Young Guns was right there. Young Guns was right next to me. He was like, Jay-Z don't do what 50 do for you.
Curtis was different. He had a hustle, a drive to make something out of nothing. He played the streets like a chessboard, always steps ahead of everyone else. But the streets weren't kind. Boo Boo faced danger and temptation daily. He made choices that shaped his path. Some good, some bad. Behind the tough exterior was a dreamer. Curtis wanted more than street corners and trouble. He aimed for the stars even when the odds were stacked against him. This is the untold story of Boo Boo, the kid who became 50 Cent, the street's legend who turned struggle into success. So buckle up for the ride of Curtis's life. Before the fame, before the fortune. Now, before 50 Cent was famous, his life was like something out of a movie, full of twists and turns that could make your head spin. He wasn't born into fancy mansions or with silver spoons in his mouth. Nope, it was the opposite. See, growing up in poverty, neglect, and surrounded by drugs, 50 Cent faced more tragedy by the age of 8 than most people do in a lifetime. Losing his mom at such a young age left a deep emotional scar that he's been open about discussing. He once told Spin magazine, "After my mom passed, everything that went wrong because she wasn't there. If I wanted to go to the park and it would start drizzling, it was happening because my mom wasn't there." To cope, he found refuge in his grandparents' basement, where he admitted to Oprah Winfrey that he was trying to escape from dealing with people and his grief, unable to talk about it with anyone.
So you become a bit insensitive. So just after...
Which one was it for you?
There was a point that I was afraid.
On top of losing his mom, 50 Cent grew up without knowing who his father was. The identity of his biological father remains a mystery, with 50 himself saying he has no interest in ever meeting the man. It's a part of his life story that's shrouded in uncertainty, adding another layer to the already complex narrative of his upbringing.
You know, the mistakes that I made early on, Larry, he could have been there to help me not make.
So what did Curtis do? Well, he found himself running with a tough crowd. You know, the kind of guys who don't play by the rules. Curtis got into the street life, hustling, dealing, and trying to survive in a world that didn't cut him any breaks. Curtis was just 12 when he started noticing something different about the world around him. He saw people making money on the streets, more money than he'd ever seen before, selling crack. It seemed like magic to him, the way people could buy nice things, live large, and act like they were kings of the block.
I mean, everybody around my way, so it's like, you know, you had, 50, which we call him Boo Boo. Like, he jumped off the porch, I would say, at 12 years old.
Reflecting on his past, 50 Cent acknowledges the emotional toll of his childhood trauma, which manifests in struggles with anger and vulnerability. He admits to a lack of emotional expression, feeling stuck in an adolescent state emotionally. Despite the moral complexity of his actions, he dismisses feelings of guilt or regret, viewing hustling as the only viable option in a harsh and unforgiving world. "It don't seem like one of the options, it seemed like the only option," he asserts, highlighting his determination to provide for himself by any means necessary. Later in his life, 50 Cent faced legal repercussions for his involvement in drug dealing. At one point, he was arrested for selling drugs and ceased hiding his activities, leading to trouble with the law. This pattern continued when, at the age of 19, he was arrested twice within 3 weeks for selling coke to an undercover officer. Subsequent police investigation revealed a cache of various drugs and a firearm in his possession. As a consequence, he was incarcerated, prompting a profound realization that it was time for him to make a change in his life.
Always ahead, because he was 12 years old, and I remember going to the block and seeing him with the high-riser ring, the rhinestone jacket.
But Curtis wasn't just another face in the crowd. He had ambition, big dreams that didn't fit the small-time game. He wanted to make it big, to change his luck, to make something out of nothing. As Curtis grew older, he looked back on those days and realized they took a toll on him. He had trouble showing his feelings, always trying to be tough, but he never regretted what he did to survive. To him, there weren't many choices in his world. Hustling was just what you had to do to get by. But hustling came with risks, and Curtis found himself in trouble with the law more than once. At 19, he got caught selling drugs to an undercover officer. Not once, but twice in 3 weeks. The police found more than just drugs. They found a gun, too. Curtis knew he had to change his ways. So, Boo Boo turned his sights to music. Yeah, hip-hop was his ticket out of the streets. He poured his heart and soul into crafting beats and rhymes that told his story, the struggles, the pain, and the hunger for success. Now, Boo Boo wasn't just about making music. He was building an empire. He knew the ropes from his days on the block, and he used that savvy to hustle his way into the game. It wasn't easy, far from it, but Boo Boo had a fire inside him that wouldn't burn out. That's when he decided to turn his life around. He took on a new name, 50 Cent, a symbol of change and renewal. Curtis wanted to make it big, but this time through music. He started a band called G Unit with some friends from the neighborhood. They weren't just any band, they were determined to be the best.
I feel like that's why documentaries is super duper important, because watching stuff like this, for me, it reminds me of where I came from and what it was really like sleeping at a bus stop, using cardboard as a cover, eating a bread sandwich, which is a sandwich, but the meat is a third piece of bread, you know what I'm saying? And if the bread sandwich don't taste good, you just drink water with it. For some reason that make it taste better. Oh man, the good old days.
G Unit. At one point we were screaming G Unit.
Yeah.
You know what goes on with G Unit now?
Well, people grow. They grow.
Yeah.
G Unit started small, releasing their music on their own, until Curtis stepped up and got them a record deal. They went mainstream and took the music world by storm. But success didn't mean smooth sailing. There were conflicts with other artists and within the group itself.
Yeah.
G Unit was founded shortly after 50 Cent left Columbia Records. The original members were 50 Cent, Bang M Smurf, Domination, Lloyd Banks, Shaw Money XL, and Tony Yayo. These rappers collectively established the group as a whole in 2000. However, after Yayo got a prison sentence, 50 Cent signed Young Buck, and along with himself and Banks became the three faces of G Unit. Smurf and Domination left the group due to some problems with the general, 50 Cent.
He went to the different directions in some ways, and some of them, like Ye, he's never gonna.
Yeah.
He's gonna stay, regardless. He's gonna just be down.
Since their formation in 2002, 50 Cent and his G Unit crew have consistently faced and engaged in conflicts within the hip-hop community. Whether through verbal sparring or physical altercations, they've never shied away from confrontation. Members like Lloyd Banks and Tony Yayo have been involved in notable brawls, while others such as Game and Young Buck have also found themselves in heated situations. Since 2002, 50 Cent and his G Unit crew have been right in the middle of all the action. It all started with 50 Cent versus Ja Rule. Picture this. Back in '99, Ja Rule was filming a music video when one of 50 Cent's friends showed up with a gun and things got heated. Even though 50 Cent denied any involvement, tensions were high between them. Then, in 2000, they clashed again at an Atlanta club. 50 Cent dropped a diss track called Life's on the Line, and Ja Rule hit back by crashing 50 Cent's recording session in NYC, leading to a wild fight where 50 Cent got stabbed.
You and your crew beat up 50 Cent in Atlanta. How does the story go?
Absolutely. I see him in Atlanta, a mutual friend of ours named Chaz.
But that was just the beginning. In 2002, 50 Cent unleashed Wanksta, a savage diss track aimed straight at Ja Rule. He questioned Ja Rule's street cred and success. The tension peaked when 50 Cent got jumped outside a studio in NYC by Black Child and his crew, leaving him injured and stitches.
I think Ja felt like I was his peer because we both wrote music and was willing to compete with me but didn't want to compete with.
In the aftermath of their explosive encounter in Atlanta, tensions between 50 Cent and Ja Rule escalated. Matters took a darker turn when 50 Cent was confronted by Black Child, a member of M Inc., and his associates outside the Hit Factory studio in NYC. During the altercation, 50 Cent was assaulted and stabbed by Black Child. Numerous accounts suggested the involvement of Irv Gotti Lorenzo and his brother Christopher.
And he threw him in because 50's like someone was trying to this and that. He was bleeding. He said, take my car, go to the hospital.
Following the incident, 50 Cent received medical treatment for 3 stitches and eventually recovered from his injuries. Black Child later confessed to being responsible, claiming self-defense as he believed someone was reaching for a weapon.
And he's like, who's here? He's like, 50. He's here. He's in the building. He's like, and I want to get him. Let's get him now. This is wrong.
Fast forward to 2003 when 50 Cent crossed paths with Onyx's Fredro Starr. They were working together on a track. Fredro Starr had a theory regarding the origins of their conflict. Allegedly, during Onyx's tour, they continued performing React and enlisted Scarred for Life to perform 50 Cent's verse. When the tour reached NYC, Onyx invited 50 Cent to join them at the Apollo to perform his verse. However, Scarred for Life ended up delivering 50 Cent's verse, but things turned sour when Fredro felt like 50 Cent's crew stole the spotlight. This led to a heated face-off at the Vibe Awards, where fists flew and they never spoke again.
His image just came up. You know, I think he was here, he was talking, and just talked himself into a bad situation. Because the timelines didn't even work. And he had previously been to the show to say it did happen. But
then came the 2004 Vibe Awards, where Young Buck ended up in a crazy brawl. A guy approached Dr. Dre for an autograph, but ended up punching him. In the chaos, Buck and his crew got into it, leaving the guy with a stab wound. Buck faced serious charges, but got a deal in the end.
The first thing I seen was Dre, man. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't even aware of whatever punch or the guy whoever walked up and hit Dre or however it went.
Johnson sustained a stab wound to the chest, resulting in a collapsed lung. He received medical treatment and eventually recovered.
Bet he won't punch a celebrity in the face again when surrounded by a bunch of other celebrities and gang members. Just sounds like an all-around terrible decision.
Buck faced charges of assault with a deadly weapon, though he managed to negotiate a plea deal down to a no-contest plea for assault with the possibility of causing bodily harm. Buck's defense claimed he had wielded a fork rather than a knife, an assertion met with skepticism, especially considering his choice of attire shortly after the incident.
I was getting a call, you know what I'm saying, saying that I was wanted for attempt, you know what I'm saying?
Attempted forking a nigga.
I had already made it back to Nashville, you know what I'm saying?
Yo!
During a show, Smurf and his crew tried to provoke 50 Cent, who responded by tossing cash and water, turning the place into a wild scene.
So anyway, we got it on or whatever, so 50 sent everybody home. But you sent me home. He sent me home f***ed up. I was in the hood 4 months.
By 2005, G-Unit was a powerhouse, and they decided to add the Game to their crew. But tensions flared up fast. 50 Cent didn't like Game's strong opinions, and their clashes got physical. In 2005, 50 Cent went on Hot 97 to kick Game out of G-Unit, but then there was a shootout outside the station. Witnesses reported that 50 Cent and Lloyd Banks began hurling cash at Bangum Smurf, with 50 Cent further escalating the confrontation by dousing him with water. In response, Bangum Smurf attempted to leap over the barricade while his associates hurled chairs towards 50 Cent and his crew. Former G-Unit DJ Who Kid, who was present during the performance, later remarked to MTV that he hadn't anticipated the situation escalating to such levels of intensity. He said, "I didn't even think that it would be that crazy." In March 2005, G-Unit, led by 50 Cent, was indeed a dominant force in hip-hop, and Interscope executives Jimmy Iovine and Dr. Dre were keen on expanding the group's roster by adding West Coast rapper The Game. The Game's addition was aimed at bolstering G-Unit's strength further. Following the release of his debut album, The Documentary, in 2005, rumors began circulating about tension between The Game and 50 Cent.
At that time, 50 was traveling with like ex-Marines and like that, you know, we just had the homies.
In a 2005 interview with Vibe magazine, 50 Cent responded to The Game's claim that they occasionally engaged in shoving matches. When asked about such conflicts within G-Unit, 50 Cent acknowledged that clashes were primarily between him and The Game. He attributed these conflicts to The Game's strong opinions and relative inexperience in the industry, implying that The Game needed to learn to listen more as he was still relatively new compared to the rest of the group. He said, "Only between me and him, he's real opinionated. He hasn't been around long enough to know that he needs to listen. Everybody else knows that." In February 2005, 50 Cent and G-Unit made an appearance at Hot 97, with intentions to part ways with Game from the crew. 50 Cent expressed his sentiments to Funkmaster Flex, citing Game's perceived disloyalty, particularly his reluctance to engage in the ongoing conflicts. However, the interview was abruptly interrupted by a shootout that erupted outside the radio station involving Game and
The fuck is a shootout? Is this done by AI? Perhaps?
his associates. The altercation concluded with Game retreating after one of his associates, Kevin Reed, sustained a gunshot wound to the left leg.
With his entourage and his security, and shots were fired. A lot of shots were fired. And the crazy thing about it,
in 2006, things got deadly during Busta Rhymes' video shoot. Tony Yayo got into a fight that ended with gunfire and a tragic death. It wasn't Yayo's fault, but it stirred up controversy about safety in the music scene. Game and G-Unit still couldn't let go of their beef in 2007. They nearly clashed at a party, but
being a rapper, is that dangerous? Sheesh. Thank God Young Child Support didn't get signed for no money.
security stopped it just in time. Then Tony Yayo faced legal trouble for confronting a kid linked to Game's management. It was a messy situation that ended with Yayo's charges getting dropped.
Was the Touch It remix, is that where the shooting happened?
Yes.
Touch It remix?
Yes. The video.
Yep. Yeah, you guys are shooting the music video.
Eyewitnesses reported that Yayo engaged in provocative behavior, directing insults towards Swizz Beatz, as well as Darren D. Dean and Joaquin Wah Dean, the CEOs of Rough Riders Entertainment. While Yayo was not directly implicated in the shooting, it was speculated that a confrontation that originated at the video shoot extended onto the streets. Outside the venue, a physical altercation erupted, culminating in an unidentified assailant firing multiple shots, one of which fatally struck Ramirez. Despite efforts to save him, Ramirez succumbed to his injuries upon arrival at a Brooklyn hospital. In the aftermath of the incident, witnesses recounted Yayo expressing remorse and attempting to diffuse tensions by apologizing to Busta Rhymes, assuring him that he did not intend to escalate the situation. The shooting sparked widespread controversy and raised concerns about safety and security in the entertainment industry. In February 2007, despite parting ways in 2005, tensions between Game and G-Unit remained palpable. At a party hosted by T.I. and Young Jeezy during NBA All-Star Weekend in Las Vegas, Game found himself in the same venue as Young Buck, a former member of G-Unit. During the event, a video clip captured the moment when Young Buck took the stage to energize the crowd. Meanwhile, Game and his entourage were observed moving towards the stage as Buck began to address them. Fortunately, security intervened swiftly, diffusing the escalating situation, as it was evident that tensions were running high and the potential for a confrontation was imminent. representing Game, a former member of G Unit. Meanwhile, G Unit member Lowell Lodi Mac Fletcher admitted to assaulting henchman's son and received a 9-month prison sentence. Tragically, just 2 weeks after his release from prison, Lodi Mac was fatally shot in the Bronx.
What?
Jimmy Henchman was later implicated in his M, adding another layer of tragedy and complexity to the already grim situation. And let's not forget the fight between 50 Cent and Floyd Mayweather Jr. at a basketball event in 2008. They traded blows over a bet, and 50 Cent joked that Mayweather wasn't undefeated anymore. The once close friendship between 50 Cent and Floyd Mayweather Jr. hit a rough patch when they found themselves embroiled in a physical altercation during a celebrity basketball event in Michigan. Mayweather, renowned as one of boxing's top pound-for-pound fighters, reportedly exchanged blows with 50 Cent during the event.
Are you and Floyd okay? Was there any truth to you and him fighting at all?
Yeah, we got into a little thing, but that's the thing, like, you know what it is? Because we both real physical.
In an interview with Hot 97's Miss Jones, 50 Cent disclosed that he initiated the altercation by putting his hands in Mayweather's face. In a reflex action, Mayweather retaliated by throwing a punch. When questioned about the cause of the altercation, 50 Cent explained that it stemmed from an argument over a bet between them.
And
like, I'll put my hands in his face. You see what I'm saying?
For what?
And it's a reflex for him to throw a punch. You see what I'm saying? So as soon as I put my hands in his face, like...
When asked about the outcome of the scuffle, 50 Cent expressed confidence, stating, "Floyd's no longer undefeated." This response fueled speculation about the altercation's winner, adding another layer of intrigue to the incident between the once inseparable friends.
Really?
In January 2010, Chris Hines, a seasoned figure in the music industry known for organizing events and gatherings, arranged a show featuring Lloyd Banks at Club NV in Ontario, Canada. However, Banks arrived a staggering 90 minutes late, expressing dissatisfaction upon finding the venue only partially filled. In a surprising turn of events, Banks abruptly halted his performance and departed for his hotel.
They're saying that Lloyd said that you refused to pay him, that's why he acted so crazy?
No, he wasn't. He was like, there's a little bit more to the story, and like
The following morning, Hines reported a disturbing incident involving Banks and his companions, Sean McGee, Terrell Cooper, and Nicholas Sloan. Allegedly, they forcibly entered Hines's room, where they proceeded to physically assault and rob him, leaving him visibly injured. The altercation purportedly stemmed from a dispute over Banks's payment and the question of whether he should have reimbursed an undisclosed fee. And that's it from us today until next time.
Who did it?
Yeah, I know who did it shortly after.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they are now where?
Oh, the guy who actually shot me is dead.
What goes around comes around. Homo shot me, 3 weeks later he got shot down.
I remember Preem coming to the block one day, try to like sun 50 and rub his head.
You know what 50 did? Yeah.
That was the day I know Preem didn't like 50.
Back on May 24th, 2000, 50 Cent was shot a staggering 9 times with a handgun in a drive-by shooting right in front of his grandmother's house in South Jamaica, Queens, New York. According to various reports, 50 Cent was just chilling outside when a car rolled up and someone inside started blasting. He got hit in his hand, arm, hip, legs, chest, and even his face. It was brutal. He was rushed to the hospital in critical condition and had to undergo multiple surgeries just to stay alive. The news of the shooting spread like wildfire, and it was shocking to many that someone as successful as 50 Cent could be targeted in such a manner. 50 Cent himself has talked about how this was a major turning point in his life. He realized how lucky he was to be alive and that he needed to make the most out of his second chance. The exact details of why he was shot remain a bit of a mystery, with several theories floating around. Some folks believed it was connected to his involvement in the drug trade, while others thought it might have been a personal beef. 50 always claimed the shooter was a low-level drug dealer who was killed just 3 weeks later.
Who did it?
Yeah, I know who did it shortly after.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they are now where?
Oh, the guy who actually shot me is dead.
However, court testimony later revealed that a 3-person hit squad was sent after him because of a song he wrote that dissed drug kingpin Kenneth Supreme McGriff. John Ragan, who used to roll with McGriff, testified that after the shooting, McGriff and 2 other gang members met up, and McGriff was like, "I got him." But to really understand how all this went down, we need to go back to the early 1980s. That's when Supreme founded a gang named after himself, the Supreme Team, based in the Jamaica section of Queens, New York. Under his leadership, the gang grew to have hundreds of members and controlled the crack trade in the Baisley Park houses, where McGriff grew up. The gang was pulling in about $200,000 a day, but in 1987, McGriff was sentenced to 12 years in prison. He got out on parole in 1994, but by the end of that year, he was back behind bars. It wasn't until 1997 that he managed to get his convictions cleared and started a new chapter in his life. He got involved with Ja Rule and the folks at Murder Inc., where he became one of the main players, offering protection to the label's artists. During this time, Preem and 50 had a decent relationship, but 50's career was floundering. He wasn't a star yet and was far from being a famous rapper like Ja Rule. Things were tough for him, so he started dissing the entire industry in his song How to Rob just to get some attention and make a little money off his album. Then came the infamous beef with Ja Rule. According to 50, his friend Troy had robbed Ja. When Ja and 50 later met at a club, 50 wanted to clear the air, but Ja thought 50 was involved in the robbery. Ja later confirmed the robbery happened, but denied ever seeing 50 with the guy who robbed him.
But it had nothing to do with him. Like, I didn't even know you know this dude.
Supreme stepped in and asked 50 to stop harassing Ja, and since Preem was someone 50 looked up to, he agreed. But he kept dissing Ja in his song Your Life's on the Line, even though he cut out some lines mocking Ja as a studio gangster who needed Preem's help to get his chain back out of respect for Preem.
I don't believe you're in the Preem to get your back. Why you wanna approach me? Cause you know I push back.
In 1999, a tragic event shook both Preem and 50. Their mutual friend Black Just was The story goes that rapper E Moneybags wanted to buy a car from Preem and had paid a deposit. When E Moneybags wanted his money back, Preem laughed it off, telling him to forget about it. One day, E Moneybags shot at Preem while he was in a car with Black Just. Just got hit twice, including in the thigh. Instead of going straight to the hospital, which was nearby, Preem went to the hood and asked someone else to take Just to the hospital. This delay cost Just his life, making E Moneybags some serious enemies.
Just like that. He said that wasn't for Just. I just looked at him, man, and I say, E, that is Just. He's dead.
So the beef with Ja Rule didn't really cool down, and Preem was always in Ja's corner trying to talk 50 Cent into chilling out and stopping the but 50 was not too thrilled that Preem kept siding with Ja. Plus, Preem didn't see 50 as a potential superstar anyway. Why bother changing things up when you're making good money from an established star like Ja Rule?
I tell you personally, the people that you see like Irv, Ja, the people that are involved in the business aspect are like.
Then things really blew up when Ja and 50 performed at the same club and ended up in a brawl. 50 walked away with Ja Rule's chain, which he even flaunted in the music video for Life's on the Line. Naturally, Ja ran to Preem again to get his chain back, but this time 50 managed to get a watch in return.
I eat you for breakfast, a watch was exchange for your necklace, and your bosses.
Preem was getting fed up with 50 because he was messing up his superstar's image, and this was the second time he had to step in to fix things for Ja. 50 was determined to bring down Inc., and his relationship with Preem kept getting worse. In an interview with XXL, 50 shared a story about hearing that Ja was filming in the Coliseum area. He decided to pay him a visit, packing a pistol and riding a motorbike over there. He ran into Preem, who told him, quote, "Hey, come here, don't even do it. I see you." Preem pulled him aside and 50 was like, "Yo, what's up with this dude?" Preem just told him to leave Ja alone, saying, "Nah, I told you, leave them alone, man, you know they ain't gonna do nothing." Tony Yayo also shared a story about one of the encounters between Preem and 50 when their relationship was falling apart, where 50 showed Preem that he wasn't scared of him.
I remember Preem coming to the block one day and try to like sun 50 and rub his head.
You know what 50 did? Yeah, man.
Do it back, yeah.
That was the day I know Preem didn't like 50.
To make things more intense, 50 started hanging out with E Moneybags, Big Nose Troy, and Green Eyed Born, all of whom had beef with Preem. Things hit a boiling point when 50 released the track Ghetto Quran, which leaked and got into Preem's hands. In the song, 50 mentioned Preem, and that didn't sit well with him at all.
Fed Prince and respected Preem. Boy, you slow, I'ma break it down illa. Supreme was the businessman and Prince was the
50 claimed that other artists had talked about Supreme and his shady past, and Supreme was fine with it, even happy that rappers were mentioning his gang in their songs. But when 50 brought him up, Preem got mad. Other gangsters from New York understood that 50's song was just a tribute, but Preem did not see it that way. Around this time, someone almost K-worded Supreme at a gas station and Supreme thought 50 Cent was behind it. So he decided to take out his enemies, with 50 being the first on the list. Preem hired Daryl Baum, aka Hamo, who used to be Mike Tyson's bodyguard, to K-word 50 Cent for a hefty sum. Thankfully, 50 survived the attack, but it was not without its toll. For those of you who aren't familiar with who Daryl Baum, aka Hamo, was, let's rewind a bit. After making easy work of Lou Severus in the first round, Iron Mike Tyson was gearing up for a big fight against Lennox Lewis, which would turn out to be the best-selling fight of his career. Now, in the world of boxing, there's this thing called a promo. Basically, a hyped-up interview to build interest for the fight. Tyson was known for his epic promos, but this time he started by dedicating it to a deceased friend, Daryl Hamo Baum.
If no one can stop me, Lynx is the conqueror. No, I'm Alexander. He's no Alexander. I'm the best ever. There's never been anybody ruthless. There's no one that can match me. My style is impetuous.
Mike, was that your shortest fight ever?
I bet what if there's only one God, and Muhammad, blessings and peace be upon him, is his prophet. I dedicate this fight to my brother, Daryl Baum, who died.
Hamo was once Tyson's bodyguard and also the man who nearly 50 Cent. In the few months after his decade-long stint in prison, Hamo became a bodyguard for the baddest man on the planet. He almost changed hip-hop history but ended up as a casualty in a gang war that wiped out his entire crew. Daryl Hamo Baum, a notorious gangster from the Lafayette Gardens projects in Brooklyn, earned his nickname not because he was a but because he was infamous for knocking people out with one punch and then robbing them as a teenager. Despite being only about 5'7" and walking with a limp, Hamo's reputation was fierce. So how did he end up as Iron Mike's bodyguard? Well, Hamo and Mike crossed paths in juvie during Mike's troubled youth. They went different ways. Mike became a heavyweight boxing champ while Hamo spent most of the 90s in prison for robbery. Hamo got out on New Year's Eve in 1999, and Tyson, knowing his friend would struggle to reintegrate into society, tried to help him out. He gave Hamo a car, cash, a Rolex, and a job as his bodyguard. But rumor has it Hamo had trouble accepting handouts and wanted to make his own money. Shortly after his release, Hamo joined the Peanut Crew street gang and got involved with Kenneth Supreme McGriff. But by then, Hamo was 34 and the streets were crawling with younger, hungrier gangsters. Despite this, Hamo quickly made his presence known and started pressuring dealers to sell drugs for him. At that time, he was also allegedly staying at Tyson's mansion in Connecticut, the same mansion that 50 Cent would later buy from Tyson. Now, after the beef between 50 Cent and Supreme escalated, Preem ordered a hit on 50. On May 24, 2000, 50 left his grandmother's house with his son inside and his grandmother in the front yard. As he got into the back seat of a car, another car pulled up and an assailant walked up to the window firing 9 shots from a 9mm pistol. 50 was hit in the hand, arm, hip, both legs, chest, and left cheek. A few inches higher and he wouldn't have made it. Miraculously, after 3 weeks in the hospital and multiple surgeries, 50 pulled through. His survival became one of the most legendary stories in rap folklore. 3 years later, the track Many Men would reveal Hamo as the shooter, but by then Hamo was long dead, not by 50's doing or blessing.
What goes around comes around. Hamo shot me, 3 weeks later he got shot down.
Hamo was 3 weeks after the shooting, but the timing was just a coincidence. At the time of his death, Hamo was a member of the Peanut Crew run by Ivory Peanut Davis and James J.R. Hamilton. The previous year, in June 1999, Myron Wise Hardy was in the Lafayette Gardens housing project, sparking a turf war between drug gangs. Myron belonged to the Cash Money Brothers CMB crew, formed in 1991 and led by Myron and his incarcerated brother Damian World Hardy. CMB controlled the crack trade in Bed-Stuy's Lafayette Gardens projects. Damian had shown signs of being in the 90s. In 1998, he was thrown out of a Brooklyn roller skating rink by a bouncer named Michael Collins. In retaliation, Damian had Collins by another CMB member. When Damian was in prison and heard about his brother's, he vowed revenge on the entire Peanut Crew, including Hamo, even though Hamo was in prison at the time of the The alleged shooter was Peanut Davis's nephew, Rummel Davis. It was a bloody summer for the Peanut Crew. Damian ordered his enforcer, Aaron eBay Granton, to take out Peanut and his crew. The killing spree started when CMB member Dwayne Thor Myers, Gerard Kojak Mackins, in the vestibule of the same building where Myron Hardy was. Mackins, a member of the Peanut Crew, was suspected of supplying Rummel Davis with the gun used to kill Hardy. Next, at around 2 a.m. on June 10, 2000, Hamo was lured to the corner of Quincy Street and Marcy Avenue by a woman. As he sat in his car waiting, eBay appeared at the driver's seat window and shot him in the back of the head, ending Hamo's brief return to Brooklyn streets. Tyson later paid for all of Hamo's funeral expenses. On August 1st, Junior Hamilton was shot inside Filet of Soul, a seafood restaurant he owned. And on August 10th at around 4 a.m., eBay caught up to Peanut Davis at Club NV in New York's Soho district, shooting him twice in the back as he sat in his Range Rover. In a panic and fatally wounded, Davis hit the gas and fled the scene, accidentally hitting 38-year-old award-winning Swedish filmmaker Johan Komets, who was walking on the sidewalk. Komets, the director of the Wannabe and Save Tonight music videos, died after being rushed to the hospital while Davis was pronounced dead at the scene. But CMB wasn't finished yet. In 2002, Daryl Hamo Baum's older brother, Tyrone T-Rock Baum, got out of prison. But he made a critical error. He openly talked about avenging his brother's death. This kind of talk didn't go unnoticed, and when CMB members caught wind of T-Rock's intentions, they ambushed him near a construction site, shooting him 3 times in the head. It was a brutal reminder of how ruthless the streets could be. Meanwhile, Damian World Hardy had an interesting turn in his personal life. In 2002, he started dating Lil' Kim, and the two were even engaged at one point. The irony here is pretty thick. Lil' Kim's 1995 music video for Junior Mafia's hit song Get Money featured none other than Peanut Davis, Hardy's slain enemy, as her love interest. Lil' Kim had also dated Myron Wise Hardy, Damian's brother, who was known to have physically abused her, allegedly breaking her nose. This led to the plastic surgery that Lil' Kim is famously known for today. Things took another wild turn in September of 2003. Hardy got into a shootout with 50 Cent's security team outside a DoubleTree hotel in New Jersey. This beef reportedly stemmed from an earlier incident that year when Hardy confronted 50 Cent over a diss aimed at Lil' Kim during a Hot 97 radio interview in New York. Fast forward to April 2005, and the Daily News reported that Damian World Hardy had a $50,000 bounty on Mike Tyson's head. Hardy believed Tyson was responsible for Hamo's. CMB members allegedly tracked Tyson and once found him in a Range Rover in the Crown Heights neighborhood. However, they couldn't go through with the hit because Tyson, like them, was a Muslim. Tyson was never charged in connection with the alleged for hire plot. Damian World Hardy managed to avoid the law for a while, but was eventually caught. In 2015, he was found guilty of ordering 6 and was sentenced to life without parole. His enforcer, Aaron eBay Granton, also received 6 life sentences. It's wild to think that for most people, living off a multi-millionaire superstar friend like Tyson would seem like a dream. But for Daryl Hamo Baum, the allure of the street life was too strong. He missed the game too much, enough to risk his life diving back into it. Despite the opportunities given to him, Hamo couldn't stay away from the dangerous world he knew so well. And his story is a chilling reminder of how quickly things can spiral out of control in the unforgiving streets. Even with connections to powerful figures like Tyson, Hamo's fate was sealed by his own choices and the relentless cycle of that engulfed him. Now circling back to 50, while 50 managed to escape death, others weren't so lucky. In July 2001, E Moneybags was found dead in his Lincoln Navigator. There are 2 versions of why he was K-worded. Some say it was revenge for the K-wording of Black Jus, while others believe it was because he robbed Inc. CEO Irv Gotti and Ja Rule. Big Nose Troy was also K-worded 3 months after E Moneybags. The police gathered enough evidence to arrest McGriff in 2002 on pending charges. During the court investigation, Supreme recalled the song Ghetto Quran, thinking it was enough to implicate 50. When the police asked 50 for more details about what he said in the record, he just told them, listen to the record. In 2003, 50 released the legendary track Many Men, where he mentioned Hamo.
What goes around comes around. Hamo shot me, 3 weeks later he got shot down.
Fun fact, in 2020, Pop Smoke and 21 Savage released their own songs referencing Many Men.
Don't cry no more, I don't look to the sky no more. Many men wanna me, dog, I feel like 50.
As the police dug deeper, they found out that Daryl Baum had a grudge against a rival gang leading to his death. The killer was identified as Damian Hardy, the ex-boyfriend of rapper Lil' Kim. Also in 2003, Irv Gotti came under investigation, putting his record label Inc. in serious jeopardy. Gotti was charged with laundering money for McGriff in 2005, but the jury declared him innocent of all charges. Despite Gotti's legal victory, McGriff wasn't so lucky. He was convicted of drug racketeering and in New York federal court. Using testimony from a hitman, text messages, and video evidence, prosecutors proved that McGriff hired for $50,000. With all his and Gotti's assets seized, McGriff couldn't afford a lawyer and was given a court-appointed attorney. On April 9th, 2007, McGriff was sentenced to life in prison. Supreme later claimed that 50 was a snitch, which he believed led to his life sentence. 50 denied any involvement in the case. All this drama was chronicled in a documentary series named Supreme Team, released in 2022 and directed by Nas.
The snitch at in the documentary. I'm not in that case.
Yeah.
There's nothing about nothing. All he says is he know me, he know what what that was about.
The shooting of 50 Cent had a major impact on his public image. Before the attack, people primarily knew him for his musical talent, but after taking 9 bullets and surviving, he became known for his toughness and resilience. The incident added a new layer to his persona. He started calling himself a survivor, using his experience as a way to inspire others facing their own struggles. During an episode of Oprah's Next Chapter in 2012, 50 Cent revisited the scene of the shooting and shared some vivid memories. He said, quote, "I arrived around 12 o'clock in the afternoon on May 24th. My grandmother was in the yard planting flowers. I moved over to get in the car where my friend was waiting, and suddenly a car pulled up next to us. A guy stepped out from the passenger seat, came around the car, and started shooting through the car. This shooting didn't just change 50 Cent's life and career, it also had a significant impact on the broader hip-hop community. It served as a stark reminder of and danger that often came with the drug trade, especially in neighborhoods like South Jamaica, Queens. The incident sparked a wider discussion about the roles of guns in the hip-hop world. Many artists and fans began to reflect on the dangerous lifestyle glorified in rap music and its real-life consequences. In the years following the shooting, 50 Cent's career skyrocketed. He used his newfound tough guy image to his advantage, building an empire that spanned music, movies, and business ventures. 50 Cent, whose real name is Curtis Jackson, has built an incredibly successful business empire over the years. He's dabbled in just about every industry you can think of, from music to movies to fashion. These days, he's involved in artist and talent management, record production, television and film production, and even footwear apparel and fragrances. He's got his hands in liquor, video games, mobile apps, book publishing, headphones, health drinks, and dietary supplements. It's safe to say that Jackson's business ventures are as diverse as they come. One of his earliest business moves was establishing his own record label, G-Unit Records, back in 2003, right after he hit it big in the music industry. That was just the beginning. By November of the same year, he had signed a 5-year deal with Reebok to launch a G-Unit sneakers line under his G-Unit clothing company. The move was part of his strategy to build a brand around his alter ego, which he believes is a key reason his ventures tend to succeed. Jackson didn't stop at music and fashion. In 2007, he launched a book publishing imprint called G-Unit Books. He's penned several books, including his memoir From Pieces to Weight, which sold 73,000 copies in hardcover and 14,000 in paperback. He's also co-authored a book with Robert Greene titled The 50th Law, which is an urban take on Greene's The 48 Laws of Power. In 2011, he released a young adult novel called 50 Cent's Playground, which tells the story of a bullied boy and his gay mother. One of his standout business ventures was his partnership with Lasso, the company behind vitamin water. In 2004, after learning about the brand at a gym in Los Angeles, Jackson became a fan and eventually a minority shareholder. He helped create a new grape-flavored variant called Formula 50 and promoted it in his songs and interviews. This partnership paid off big time in 2007 when Coca-Cola bought Lasso for $4.1 billion. According to Forbes, Jackson earned a cool $100 million from the deal after taxes. His role in television has been nothing short of a blockbuster. As a co-star, co-creator, and executive producer of the Starz network drama Power, Jackson proved his talent wasn't confined to music and business. His involvement came with a lucrative 2-year contract, and he was represented by the Agency for the Performing Arts. Power quickly became a massive hit for Starz, with the premiere of its 2nd season drawing a record-breaking 1.43 million viewers tuning in live. The show's success cemented Jackson's status as a force to be reckoned with in the TV world.
It's the same reason why I like Wire. It's like getting to see the grittiest, grimiest, horrifying stuff that I grew up around without ever having to put myself in danger going back.
Power wrapped up its run in 2020, but Jackson's influence did not end there. He continued to expand the universe of Power by serving as the executive producer for 3 spin-offs: Power Book 2 Ghost, Power Book 3 Raising Kanan, and Power Book 4 Force. These series have carried on the legacy of the original show, further proving Jackson's knack for producing compelling television content. In addition to his television success, Jackson has shown a deep commitment to philanthropy.
Shit! I knew 50 was smashing her! Dang it!
His television success, Jackson has shown a deep commitment to philanthropy. In July 2011, he launched a major initiative aimed at tackling hunger, specifically focusing on providing food for 1 billion starving people in Africa by 2016. To achieve this ambitious goal, he partnered with Pure Growth Partners to introduce Street King, an energy drink. The initiative was designed to be sustainable, with a portion of the proceeds from every Street King purchase going towards providing a daily meal to an underprivileged child. This project aligned perfectly with Jackson's mission to make make a significant impact on global hunger. Chris Clark, the founder and CEO of Pure Growth Partners, shared Jackson's vision for addressing global problems through innovative and sustainable business models. Clark emphasized the urgency of addressing rampant starvation in Africa and the widespread hunger affecting children worldwide. He highlighted the importance of socially responsible businesses in creating real, tangible change. In the world of music, 50 Cent has sold over 30 million albums worldwide and has a trophy case full of awards, including a Grammy, a Primetime Emmy, 13 Billboard Music Awards, 6 World Music Awards, 3 American Music Awards, and 4 BET Awards. His acting career started with the semi-autobiographical film Get Rich or Die Tryin' in 2005, which wasn't exactly a hit with critics but marked his entry into Hollywood. He also starred in Home of the Brave 2006 and Righteous 2008. Billboard recognized his impact on the music industry by ranking him 17th on their 50 Greatest Rappers list in 2023 and naming him the 6th top artist of the 2000s. Rolling Stone also gave him props on his debut album Get Rich or Die Tryin' and his hit single In Da Club, ranking them among the 100 best albums of the 2000s and 100 best songs of the 2000s at number 37 and 13 respectively. That's it for today. Until
That's wild, bruh. My upbringing was nowhere near as tough as 50's, bruh. You know what I mean? Like, mine was tough, nowhere near as tough as 50's. With that being said, make sure to comment, like, and subscribe. It's your boy BlastphamousHD. Twisms.